get real creative, guys. You can get so creative. And of course, obviously, you can put anything you want. You can put a hook, you can put some ribbon, you can do anything you want. If you want to close your loop like I did on this guy, you can use that loop to put anything you want to hang it wherever you want to hang it. So let's put this guy over here, and we're going to get into another variation I'll show you, very similar, but I'll give you the main basic concepts of how to go ahead and shape your wire and have some fun. Let's put him over here. Making some beaded wreaths. Step one is get yourself your 18 or 20 gauge wire and get yourself your ruler length. And then you want to just kind of smooth it out. You just want to get rid of any of the kinks. You can do it with your fingers or your nylon jaw, whatever works. And then in order to shape your wreath, you're just going to grab any object. So this is these little containers I have that I store some of my bigger beads in. You can also use like a dowel or something like this if you want a smaller wreath. That's what I did on the other one. So this is much smaller, okay, to form your wreath. You can use like a pencil cup, you know, anything that you want. It just really depends upon what size you want your wreath to be. So this one, I could go here in the center, or I could also go up here, right, to make it smaller if I wanted on like an object like this, for example. Okay, and so let's go ahead and make like a medium size like I did over here. So all you're going to do, guys, is grab whatever object you're using, and you kind of want to make sure that your wires up here are flush. And so I'm going to kind of hold those, and then I'm going to sort of put my wire around the center here, and I'm just going to form it around. Just going to make kind of a slight little bend, not much, about like that. Okay? So you see what I did there? And it's going to get a little misshapen, but that's okay, because we've got the main shape, and that's all we care about at the moment. Okay, so got my main shape. I did a slight bend right there on it, on my little object, so that kind of gives me a little bit of an idea of where I'm stopping. So I'll kind of go like that. Okay, and we'll just remove our object. Okay, and so now essentially this is what we have, right? And so, again, the reason for that little bend on the top, guys, is just to kind of give you perspective of where to probably stop beading, okay? And so I'm going to go ahead and just start feeding on my beads down the wire that I did not bend. Down, guy. That is what I have, okay? Now, so you see where my bend is here. So I'm going to do the exact same thing over on this wire, but now we're going to make a true bend in the wire. So we're going to kind of hold our frame down here, okay, and grab a pair of chain nose. And you'll need chain nose, by the way, guys, and some round nose, or some bail making pliers, which is what I'll use today. Okay, and so then I'm going to go right to the top of that bead, and I'm putting my pliers, my chain nose right on top of that bead, and I'm just going to make a bend to where this wire is going to go straight up. Okay, and I'm going to now do the same thing on this side. So now I'm going to put my chain nose, now that these are all the way up over here, right? I'm going to go on the other side here, and same thing. Just going to put my chain nose in there and bend that wire up. Okay? So that's what you have. And so when I put them together, do you see there how my wires are going straight up and down? Okay, so now this is what you should have. Okay, and now you can see one of my wires is a little shorter than the other. So that's the wire I'm going to take and wrap around to anchor my frame. And we'll just do regular wrap. So I'm going to hold these top beads right here, and I'm going to go up and around, and I'm just going to wrap that around like 2, maybe 3 times. There's 2, let's go 3. Okay, and now see how it's gonna do this, and that's okay. Because now we're gonna go ahead and just push it down. Just work with your wire, and we'll push it down back where it needs to be. And now it's kind of losing a little bit of its shape, but that's okay. And we want to do this, guys, before you finish off your wrap. So then just kind of go down and make sure that you're back round. Okay, and now notice how my wires are. So I'm going to take this back wire here, right, which I'm going to be making my loop or whatever out of. I'm going to straighten it up. So I just pulled it up a little bit, okay? And so that is what I have, okay? Now I'm going to take this wire and I'm going to grab a pair of chain nose. I'm going to try to push it down a little bit, these wraps. I'm going to try to push these wraps down just a smidge to where they are a little closer to these flower beads right here. So you're just going to do just like this, guys. Just literally gently pull those wraps down. Okay, and looks pretty good. Okay, and so then now what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn it kind of upside down like this. I'm going to take this wire here and I am going to take it through the center and back up around and do 2 wraps in between my little tree beads here, my little red beads. And you're just wanting to use your finger as your table kind of to hold your bead frame down. And I'm holding this top core wire we have so it doesn't move about anymore. And this is what's going to anchor it and stop it from sliding. Okay, and there's a second wrap. Okay, and we can go third maybe there, fill in that little space. So there we go. So there's a third wrap. And that is what I have. Okay, and now we've got this wire here. And we're just going to take it up and around one more time. Just like that. And we'll trim it off in the back. And then we can tuck that in if we need to. Okay, and so that is pretty much what you've got. Okay, but do you notice how my beads stop slipping around? And that's what you want to do. Okay, and then you can even lay it flat. I do tend to do that. Let me clean up the stuff here. And then you can kind of press it down on your bead mat or your work table, and that'll flatten out your wreath. It's pretty good shape. Okay, and so now I have my core wire. So again, I'm just going to move my core wire and I'm going to straighten it out, just like this. Okay, and now we can do whatever we want, really. You can roll in a double loop. You can make your own little hook. Guys, it's literally endless what you can do. So I don't need that much. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut maybe about 1 inch off the top there. And I'm going to flush cut that. Blow that loop to my biggest portion of my plier here. And I will just roll it down. Better. There. Okay. So that's what I'm going to wind up with. Okay. And what we're going to do is just grab your bail making pliers and use the smallest loop. And you're going to just roll a loop forward, making a spiral 3 times. And you're going to take each wrap and lay it on top of the previous wrap. Or below, rather. Okay, do you see what I have there? Okay, and now we'll remove that. And then you can see where we started is on the top, the long piece of wire is on the bottom. Hold your little spiral and grab this wire, and we're going to take it up and around, down through that spiral. okay? And then hold your spiral and then pull as far as it'll let you pull, okay? You'll be left with something like that, okay? And that's where you just grab your chain nose and hold onto your little spiral and kind of push gradually. This will go through. I'm grabbing that loop with my chain nose there, and I'm just pushing the spiral up and guiding that rest of that wire down. And be really gentle, you know, when you're doing this, because it will get out of shape really easy, because this is just 24 gauge, okay? And that is what I have, and I will squeeze it gently. Okay, and that's what I have. Okay, and so there's the stem of your wire. Straighten that out, and then just grab some beads, whatever you're going to do, and I'll use the little red one this time. So cute. And then once you get your first bead on there, this is what I do, guys, is take and smush up that little spiral towards your bead. Just smush it up and press it right up against that bottom bead, and then that's what you have. It looks perfect, okay? And we've got our little flower bead, and then I'll do the green and a flower bead and a green and a flower bead. Okay, and that's what I have. Looks like a little Christmas tree. Okay. And so now I'll just do a regular wire wrap loop. So we'll just kind of straighten it out a little bit. Again, we're working with 24 gauge here, so it's gonna move about. And I'll just make a really super small loop. So we go up and around the front of the plier, and then pull that wire back, rotate your plier, and then we're gonna wrap that wire around 3 times. So 1, 2, and 3. Okay. Straighten up our loop. And we'll trim the excess. Tuck it in. Tuck in your little burr. And that is what you have. Little Christmas tree. So cute. And so what I think I'm going to do, guys, on that one is, this is just too darn cute, is now I think I'm going to get these 10 millimeters jump rings, and I'm going to put it through, because I think I'm going to need a 10 millimeter. Yeah. And, you know, we could put both of them on there if we wanted to. That's so adorable. And I'm just going to try to actually find the center first. So in order to do that, I'm kind of just looking at the center up here, right? And then I'm just going to kind of guide my eyes straight down to see, you know, roughly where my center is. Doesn't have to be perfect. And put this little 10 millimeter jump ring there. So again, you're just going to use whatever jump ring depending upon what size beads you're using. And now I'll slip my little trees on, jump ring, and then we'll close this jump ring up. And there we go. There's our little trees. And then let's do the same thing, shall we, with my briolet beads. I was going to put the disco ball, but that might be a little bit too much. I don't know. It's just, it's whatever. It's whatever you want. So let's grab, let's go about, I don't know, maybe around a 6-inch piece of the 24 gauge, guys. And Let's see if we can do like a little twisty wrap on these briolet beads. You can also feed a really thin 10mm jump ring through. So I'll just fed that on my wire, marrying up the ends of my wire here, and kind of pressing them together. And then I'll go all the way down, okay, to about right there, okay? And then I am going to hold my thumb over my bead, and I'm going to put my chain nose over that wire there and twist it just like that. Get it started, and then I'm gonna grab my nylon jaw and just gonna kind of twist that around. But I'm not going to let go at the bottom because I don't want the twist to go all the way to the bead. So I'm just gonna twist this together. However tight or whatever, there's no rules, just do however you want to do it. And I think we'll do a wire wrap loop, and then we'll use a jump ring to hang this up on the top. So that's probably good right there. Okay, I'll trim the rest of that off and just make a small little loop here. Just gonna go right above that, put that up and around. Just a regular wire wrap loop. All we did was use 2 pieces of wire this time. And then I'll just twist that around. See if I can get that tucked in without having to cut any more of that off. And there we go. Little briolet bead wire wrapped. Can hang him right on there. Time, guys, is I'm going to take this 10mm and I'm going to put it right in the center there, but I'm going to then close it up. And then I'm going to grab the smaller jump rings to hang my little charms from, or my little wrapped beads rather. Okay, so there's that. Okay, and now I think I can grab these little 4mm guys. I think this shall work. These are so tiny you can literally use your fingers with them. And I'll feed that right on my little loop there. And then I think I can feed it right on that jump ring. These are such tight little spaces. And show you, so that's what this one looks like, friends. That is precious, if I say so myself. Look how cute that is. Just cute as a bug's ear. How adorable. Love that. So cute. I don't know about my funky little situation here. That needs a little work. My little hook, but nevertheless, there is a couple of different fun ways to make some beaded wreath little decor. Lots of fun different things that we can do. Lots of fun things, guys. And I hope you guys are inspired. And thank you guys so much for tuning in to day 7. And we'll see you tomorrow for day 8, friends. Until then, be blessed.